Good afternoon, everyone. Good morning, everyone. Trust you're having a good day. Please just let me know if you can hear me in the comment section. Um, Very good. I see Vlad sound is on. Thanks for joining. Today it's another great session, we are grateful that you guys joined us today with all of us this morning. And then you guys are wondering what we're going to discuss today. The main topic for today, the central point of discussion is building human-centered IT experiences for African organizations. Building human-centered IT experiences for African organizations. Many organizations across Africa, as we know, are investing a lot of millions in digital transformation. They are adopting AI, automating services, moving to the cloud, modernizing platforms, and accelerating innovation at an unprecedented pace. But despite all these investments, many organizations continue to face the same challenges. Number one is that employees still feel disconnected from technology. Customers are still experiencing friction rather than simplicity. And IT teams that are measured by efficiency but not by the trust they create. Digital transformation programs that deliver technology but struggle to deliver meaningful human outcomes. So these are the core challenges organizations across Africa are facing. So perhaps the question may no longer be, can we transform digitally? But the real question we should be asking is, can we transform digitally without losing the people we are transforming for? That is what today's discussion is all about. Humanizing IT, it's not making IT friendlier. Probably we have different views and ideas about it. But today we are going to look at how organizations can deliver the best experiences that puts a customer and its users at the center. Joining us today, or joining me today, or joining us today, we have two exceptional and amazing leaders who bring both strategic and practical perspectives to the table. Our first panelist is Katrina McDermott. She's the CEO of Humanizing IT Global, an internationally recognized author of Humanizing IT, and a global thought leader helping organizations embed Humanizing IT into leadership, service management, and organizational culture. Joining here also is Vivian Otwickhorn, the head of customer experience and IT service management at EcoBank. She brings perspective of leading customer-centric technology transformation across one of Africa's largest banking groups. Together, we will explore and discuss why humanizing IT matters, and not just that, but how organizations across Africa can adopt it, scale it, and measure business outcomes. So let's give it up for our guest speakers if they are here with us yet. So, hi, Katrina.
Hi, Sam. How are you going?
I'm good. It's your yeah. Pleasure to have you guys here. We really do appreciate your time.
Hello, everyone.
Yeah. Okay. So just to kickstart, right, I would want to, although I've briefly introduced you, just a quick word introduction to our audience so that they hear from your own mouth who you are. Yeah, thank you. So I'll start with Vivian. Yeah.
Okay, hi everyone. My name is Vivian, like Sam has said. I lead the service management team in EcoBank Group. Basically, my function would require looking out for all of our processes, which is part of what we'll be discussing. It shouldn't be so important. But yes, I do look out for our processes. I'm also responsible for our customer experience within the technology department.
Thanks, Vivian. Over to you, Katrina. I know Katrina is not a new face, so yeah.
Hi, everyone. Thank you. I'm very honored I'm from Australia, and so very honored to be having the opportunity to speak to your region. It's amazing. So thank you for the opportunity, Sam, and to your team. So Katrina McDermott, as you mentioned, Sam, I'm a co-founder of a company called HIT Global. My business partner, I think he's here somewhere. No, he's here somewhere, but it's Mark Basham. Essentially, and we have a very quick slide deck on this, but essentially we are bringing humanizing IT across the globe, and what that is we'll talk about more at the moment. But I guess my background, again, very quickly, is I started my life as I guess in IT, as obviously probably a lot of the audience has, and I specialised in the ITIL framework. I became an ITIL V3 master, which I'm not sure if you're aware, but there's only probably about 60 people on the planet with that certification. And I'm also a contributing author of ITIL 4. So I was part of the architect team that wrote the ITIL 4 version of ITIL. And as you'll see in my slide deck, that led me onto a path and we've created Humanizing IT. So thank you.
Thank you, Katrina, and thanks for that. So, guys, like I mentioned, these are from different perspectives, very technical and practical perspectives. So we're going to have an amazing session. I know some of you may have heard Humanizing IT, probably been thinking of it as a philosophy. You have your different assumptions. So to just get us started so that we are all aligned on what really Humanizing IT is, we would like Katrina to give us a short definition and explanation of what Humanizing IT is, and then our conversation will follow up on them. So Katrina, please, you have the stage. Delve us into what Humanizing IT is.
So as I said, I do have a slide deck, and I hope this works. If you could just confirm that you can see my screen with that it's working.
Yes, it is.
Awesome. Thank you, Vivian. So as I said, just very quickly, yeah, that's me. I've already pretty much introduced myself. Mark Basham, as I said, I know he's in the audience, but I'm proud to say that Mark Basham is my business partner. Mark's based in the UK, so we are really a global organisation. Mark is the former CEO of Axelos, and you may or may not be aware that Axelos was the organisation that owned let's say half of the ITIL framework, and Mark ran that company, and he's also board member and advisor on other organizations. So I'm very proud that he's my business partner, and we've taken Humanizing IT, as I said, across the globe. So this is just a sneak peek at what we do and what Humanizing IT is. Sam, you kind of mentioned it earlier about the state of IT service management, and it's really interesting that you seem to have the same, shall we say, problems in Africa that we do in Australia and in the UK and probably in most countries in the world. And what is Humanizing IT, but what is the problem that we're solving? Why did I create Humanizing IT? This is a survey that we did, or we continue to do actually. We do it annually. As you can see, Vivian, I haven't showed you this. I wanted to surprise you. This is a survey we did. I think this latest one was about 6 months ago. And we did a survey to over 300 IT professionals. What do you think the question was, Vivian? If you can see those words. Any guesses what we asked? It was a survey.
I'm sure one of the things you probably asked is how well is IT doing, or how do our customers view IT?
You're absolutely correct. And this was not planned, was it, Vivian? You that was what
wasn't. I'm just seeing this for the first time.
Yeah. So this is a survey we do, and yes, the question was, what do you think the business thinks of IT? And what's interesting is that we didn't ask the business, we asked IT people. And I often say it's quite sad because this is what we're answering, not what the business is answering. And do you think if I was to ask IT professionals in your country, would I get the same responses, do you think?
Very likely, yes, you would.
Yeah, so that's the problem we're solving in Humanizing IT. And as I said, I do kind of like to say, and without putting tickets on myself, I do know service management very well. As I said, I'm one of the few people that is an ITIL version 3 master. I studied it for years and years and years. And I'm very passionate about the discipline called IT service management, and really understanding why we're getting answers like this. And it's very interesting. As I said, we're going to start uncovering a little bit. But just before I do, just to make sure we definitions. Again, Vivian, we haven't rehearsed this, but I'm going to put you on the spot. What is IT service management?
Okay, so IT service management is basically a capability. That's what ITIL teaches us, right? It's a differentiated capability that allows us to articulate how we deliver IT services. All the different processes that we put together to deliver IT services.
Nice. And you hit the nail on the head. You said IT services. You're exactly 100% correct. Right. And what about human-centered design? And I don't want to put you on the spot, but I know you've done our training. But it's interesting because human-centered design is essentially what our framework is based on. And it is a framework that is just as big as ITIL. And I'll ask you, Vivian, had you heard of human-centered design before you met Sam and met us at HIT Global? Had you heard of human-centered design?
Yes, actually, I have. Yes, I have. We've created a CX function within my organization, and we did have a group-wide training around it, and it was human-centered design that was at the heart of that.
Fantastic. Yeah,
so yes,
and that's
not for IT.
Exactly. And yes, so I've got a slide on this. So what is human-centered design? So you're right there, Vivian. So you got IT service management. Yeah, so human-centered design is an approach to design that puts people at the heart of the process. And I'm going to go with framework for now. We'll just call it a framework to make it easier. And it's a big framework, but many people in IT have never heard of human-centered design. And I was one of them. Or they might have heard of it, but don't really understand 100% of what it is. And it is, as I said, very widely used. And as you said, Vivian, very rarely used for specifically IT service management. And so an example of human-centered design, it's really typically based on customers. So here is an example of let's call him Frequent Fred. He's a frequent flyer. He probably used Uber to get to the airport. He used his app to check in. The security was easy. He used a fast track. Boarding, the signage was easy as well. And he sat down on the plane and he could start working. If we look at another example, let's call these Betty and Bob, where it's unlikely that Betty and Bob would have ordered an Uber. It's unlikely that they would have used their app to check in. What they want is they want assistance through every pretty much step of their journey. They're nervous travelers. They're certainly not like the frequent flyer. And both of these personas or groups of people had a pretty good experience, a very different experience. And what we say is that they both wanted the same outcome, but they experienced it very differently. And that wasn't accidental. It was human-centered design. So human-centered design, I like to use it as an example of what human-centered design is, that it really understands the people and designs around them. Okay, because as I said, it's unlikely my mother that's 93 is going to use her phone if she wants to travel somewhere. She'll either print it out or pay cash, etc., etc. So that's human-centered design. So that's another example. And why do companies invest in human-centered design? I won't read that all, but basically it's what you see on the screen. And one of my favorite phrases that I like to say to people is that down the bottom, that companies don't invest in human-centered design to be nice. They invest because poor experience is expensive. So I'll just skip that one too. Just what I wanted to quickly say is that really seamless experience the frequent flyer had is what's behind it is technology called service management. And isn't that nice and neat? But do you think that's our reality? What do you think, Vivian?
Yeah, I mean, really, it is. This does look like a reality. I mean, there's complexity everywhere. We build our complexities.
Exactly. We live in a complex world. So it's very hard when we're instructed, and as Sam said, we're being told that we're talking about experience and we have to create a seamless experience. It's actually quite hard for us in IT service management because of the complexity for various reasons that we've built. And again, just mindful of time, I just want to... So humanizing IT is really, as you're probably guessing, is taking techniques of human-centered design and applying them to the complexity of IT service management. So Vivian, what you said is that human-centered design typically looks at customer. It doesn't look at how we apply it for IT. And this is what humanizing IT does. And a bit of a plug, we do training. So that's what we do. We have a training app, and as Sam said, Vivian, that's what you've done. And I'm just going to quickly... One of my favorite slides is so that we understand is that IT service management is process focused, human-centered design is experience focused, and humanizing IT puts those together so we can create a positive experience for our users. So that's about it from the introduction of quickly what humanizing IT is. So back to you, Sam.
Trina, for that brief presentation. I'm sure we didn't want it to end, and your questions may come now. Okay. Yeah. So I'm going to start with a few questions just to loop in our audience in. We are going to look at the practicality of humanizing IT in organizations that have spent years and time to design systems that work, and then we will look at the cost of not having humanizing IT. We will delve a bit into the governance. So my first question is going to Vivian. Based on what you know about humanizing IT and the organization you lead, what is your perspective, right? In practice, do you think it's practical or it's possible to implement humanizing IT in the organization you work when it comes to the practicality of humanizing IT? What's your perspective around it?
Okay, I'll be honest with you. When I went through the program the first time, my thoughts were, we have these processes defined. They are developed. We're working at maturing them, making them get better. How are we going to do this? How are we going to undo and redo? Because that's what went off in my head, I've implemented ITIL framework for different parts of the organization. Okay, so I've done this practically in terms of doing it as often and on. Mm-hmm. I've done it with ISO 20000. So I know what we went through getting those processes established. So the thought of how we're going to bring, the customer in to all of these processes kind of gave me a fright. But indeed, like Katrina said, there were tools. There are very specific frameworks defined within the program that allows you carry out a step-by-step process towards reorientation, because that's what it is. It's a complete reorientation of the support teams to now think more about the customer. And there's a part of it that I liked. There's a part that said that don't just think about the customer at the end of the journey because you're doing all of what you're doing for the customer. You have to think about their entire journey from the moment they have an interface with anything from IT all the way till they get the result that they need. So yes, I believe that it is possible. It will take some time, but yes, it is possible.
Thanks. Thank you, Vivian. Katrina, so back to you on Vivian's submission. Do you get this from other organizations you help on humanizing IT that it's possible, but then it takes a lot of reorientation? And how do you normally advise these organizations around the adoption mentality?
Yes, I think it kind of goes back to what I was saying earlier, is that we've been doing IT service management in the way we know it literally for over 40 years. And I quite often say, essentially, it has not changed. Essentially, it is still the same. And with that in mind, going back to that slide I showed at the beginning, we're not doing it very well. And we can continue to improve a process that isn't working very well. And another thing I like to say is that it's 2026, and every country, as I said, we have the opportunity to train and present and consult. Every organization in every country, can you tell me what one of the top 3 calls to the service desk still is? Password reset. Now that's you're laughing, but it's true. And we have all these amazing but it's still the same. And as I'm saying, it still hasn't changed. So I go back to that slide I said, if you don't change something, it's costing you money, because you are inadvertently creating a poor experience for users by following a framework. And if I may say so, that frameworks like ITIL are not human-centered. They are designed to make IT more efficient. That's their purpose. So if you continue to follow frameworks that were made to look IT to be efficient, you're not going to create an experience, and it's just going to cost you more money. But I'd also like to say in that we need these frameworks. I'm not saying we don't need them. We absolutely do need them for the governance and control and structure, but we have to start looking at them through a human-centered lens.
Okay, thanks so much, Katrina, for that. That is very realistic. I sometimes talk to leaders, and I know how they say it. I mean, for developers, if it's working, you don't touch the code. So
is it working though?
It is working, and so I just want to add. My next question will be for leaders, right? What are some of the pointers that can signal a leader that my system is highly digitalized but not human-centered? What are some of the pointers a leader can, just look at to really? You gave the password reset example. That is still one of the most raised requests. But then when you check their metrics, SLAs are being met. The metrics is showing all green. Everything is fine on metrics and paper. So what are some pointers that maybe leaders can look at and just know how their systems may not be human-centered, right? So any of you can start. I just want some pointers, and so Vivian, I can see you are smiling. So
okay, so I'll go first. I'll let Katrina iron it out afterwards. So there's something called the watermelon effect, right? Where you're green on the outside, but you're red on the inside. So everybody else, your metrics are perfect. Your SLAs are on point, your resolution rates, your availability, your uptime, your success rates, everything is up. But you still have your customers rate you when they do a customer satisfaction survey or an NPS, they rate you very low. So you have that variance. You see, your customers are saying, I'm not happy with you, but your metrics are saying, I'm meeting every line, every KPI that has been set. That's a trigger. That's time for you to sit down, look through those feedback surveys and ask yourself, where's the difference? Where's the gap? What are we missing? Most often than not, it's not that the technology doesn't work. It is how the technology has been delivered or how it has been experienced by the users that is the gap.
Oh, well, that's it. That's the whole point. So just to iterate, compare your customer service, your customer score, NPS, with your IT metrics like XLAs, time to response, MTTRs. Okay, very good. Katrina, do you have something to add on that?
Absolutely have. I just want to, if I may, to Vivian's point just very quickly. I think it's quite interesting.
Yeah.
Iman, can you let me share, please? Thank you. Is that what you're saying, Vivian? You get your report, it's all green, isn't it?
Yes, all green, 99%. Yay!
Yay. And that's what we do. And this is what we teach you in Humanizing IT, is that we see this and we go, fantastic. But what's actually happening in reality, and I actually quite think this is quite interesting, and this is your watermelon reporting, and that's right. So it looks all green, but why is a watermelon crying? It's because those stats we see, they're actually doing what they were meant to do, and they weren't really designed to look at experience. So the green is, what it would do. But what I'd like to share with you is that when we look at those reports that are all green, this is what our assumptions and perceptions are. We, as you said, Vivian, we say incidents decreasing, SLA is 99, etc. So in IT, I think we tend to look at the data and think that everything's good, and we act on that. And in Humanizing IT, we teach you that that's one part of the evidence that you need to look at, because if incidents are decreasing, what does that mean? It doesn't necessarily mean that you've got less incidents. It may mean that users are not logging tickets, and it typically does. It might use that users are using YouTube, ChatGPT, Copilot, etc. So looking at those reports and many things in IT doesn't really give us the full picture. And just I'll stop sharing a bit, but I really like this slide in where it says that in IT we close a ticket, so logged, it was fixed, we met SLA, closed. But in reality, you can see down the bottom, this is what the user experience was, that they had to chase up the ticket, no one kept me updated, it's a repeat issue. And we don't pick that up typically in our reporting. So that's, as you said, Vivian, a really good example of watermelon reporting and what we're finding. So thank you, Samuel. I'll stop sharing now.
Thanks, Katrina, and thanks for highlighting that and adding the pictures to it for much context. And it's really true. And so I have a question around what the organizations stand to lose if they don't start prioritizing or making emphasis to humanizing IT. Because at the moment, I believe that organizations have a lot of priorities that they're focusing on, particularly in the banking sector. There's data issues, data hosting issues and all this. But what do organizations stand to lose if they don't start prioritizing discussions around humanizing IT?
Okay, so
great question. Sorry,
Katrina, yes, please go for it.
No, you go. I was just I'm running out of power, so I'm good. I was just like,
okay.
Sorry.
Okay, so looking at the banking industry, right? Every human being has a God-given right of choice. You choose where you spend your money. You choose who your customers, who your your beneficiary would be. Now, I'm speaking from the side of a customer, because it's my money. I make the money. I choose where I want to spend it and how I want to spend it. I will spend my money where I believe I get the best experience. So the risk of ignoring the problem is a loss. It is as simple as that. It's a loss of income. Most businesses exist today to make income. They need the customers to survive. So you want to keep them. And you don't keep customers if their experience of you is negative all the time. Some customers are nice enough to tell you when they have a bad experience, so you have an opportunity to make it better. Some others quietly and silently walk away. And we see a lot of this happen in the banking industry. There's no one bank that offers a unique service that is not offered by somebody else. So ignoring the problem directly translates into a loss of customer revenue, even negative social impact, reputation, because now I can just go to social media and say, this was my experience. It was really bad, don't go there. So even those who have not experienced it can take a lead from what somebody else has experienced and walk away. Like Katrina said, the cost of a bad experience is very expensive.
Yeah, and what I find interesting is when we do training and consulting, and if I've got leaders in the room, I'll say to them, when was the last time you called the IT service desk? And never. So in the room, I actually call the service desk. And it's really interesting watching people in IT seeing what the experience of ringing the service desk or logging a ticket. And it's that trust that you start to empathize with the trust from users to ITs, that erosion of trust, even those simple touch points that we don't think about in IT can cause it can be detrimental to the system. Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, while we wait for Sam to come back on, Katrina, I think you put another perspective to it, because ultimately where the customer experiences the technologies that we provide, Humanizing IT is looking at the users and their experience of technology. Now, I find that within banking, what typically happens is I have somebody at a branch, I have a customer who walks into one of the outlets trying to carry out a transaction. Maybe he's trying to get a loan, or he's trying to get some other service that requires him to be at the branch. So the branch is an experience for that customer. Now he walks in and makes a request, and the staff need to reach out to IT to help out with whatever information they require. Now, their experience of IT ultimately translates into whatever experience they give out to the customer. So that chain just sticks on there. So the happier they are in interacting with IT, the happier they can translate the same experience to their customers. So yes.
Exactly right, Vivian. That's exactly what we say. And you bring an important point in that in Humanizing IT, our premise is that IT service management essentially, in most cases, doesn't look after customer experience. So that example, if someone's walked into the branch and they had a bad experience, they'd ring the contact center. They wouldn't ring the internal service, IT service desk. So our job is to look after I'm not sure if you still call them the bank teller, but the teller. And as you said, to make their experience positive so they can give an experience. But it's also an interesting point, because I don't know if it's the same in your industry, but I often say, I think it's crazy that if you're a frontline worker, such as someone in the banking in a customer-facing role, or you're a nurse, or you're a teacher, we have created the same process as someone in the office that might not be able to print the monthly invoice. So you remember the example I gave about the frequent flyer versus the elderly couple. Human-centered design created a very different experience. And in IT, we don't. We just say, everybody, you have to call the service desk.
True.
And I think that's quite a failing of our design in IT service management, that we've just said, this is a process, everybody follow it. And that is, as I said, that's what we teach about humanizing IT, is that look at your users and maybe create a separate path. So we've worked with organizations like hospitals where we've created a separate phone number for nurses.
I agree with you. And that brings something else to mind for me. There is a lot of sound around AI now. There's a lot of programs around automation. And the importance of humanizing IT is such that even in designing your automation process, you do need to think about the customer. You just referenced personas. right? So you have the customers who are tech savvy, they will go online, chat with the chatbot, they're comfortable with that, they get their results and they move on. And then there are those who are not so comfortable and would rather a phone call or a chat. So it's about that deliberate and intentional view of the customer, of the different personas of your customers or your users, to make sure you cater for their individual journey, just like the frequent flyers or the aged couple.
Exactly, Vivian, exactly. And as I said, I think it's crazy that we're expecting frontline workers to follow the same process. And as we said, if you don't, because what happens to these frontline workers is they get frustrated with IT, they stop contacting IT, they have work around IT, and this is where you get technical debt. And this is where bad experience becomes expensive. How do you untangle that complexity that we're creating? So always, and it's a fact, it's research driven. If you start with people, you're going to have a better outcome.
I agree.
Yeah,
I agree completely.
Thank you. So it looks like our host has some technical issues. That's
really
good on technology, hey?
True.
So I guess if there's any questions, we look at the comments. Anybody? I hear Sam.
Yeah, can you hear me now? Actually, my camera just decided to leave me.
Yes, I can hear you, Samuel.
Third, thank you. I was listening to the conversation. My camera just decided to leave me. I'm in the middle of this conversation, but here I am. So pardon me, the audience. Yes. So my question was, you gave examples about humanizing IT, even extending beyond IT as a central point to even the experience customers have using the branch scenario that Vivian gave. All right. And I'm looking at leaders thinking about this, right? You've already built lots of process, right? How do we start? It's a critical question any leader would ask, right? Because do we focus on the services that are coming, or do we revise existing ones? I'm going to throw to Katrina, because these systems have been built over years, right? So, just a simple answer. Do organizations look at the services that are the onboarding, the new services, and then implement humanizing IT? Or do they do the historical benchmark and start fixing services that are not really prioritizing the experience? So for a leader who is caught in this middle, what would you advise them to prioritize and focus on?
So this is where I'd probably use the human-centered design framework in that. So what you've just asked there, Samuel, was a lot of things. So what we do is we go to the first diamond, the double diamond framework, and do some research. And I think, if I answer now, I'd be jumping into solution mode. And so I'd really need to understand so much, the culture, the organization, your SLAs, your outsourcing agreements, all of that sort of stuff. But I think with humanizing IT, what we do say is incremental changes make big differences. And a really quick example is we did a consulting engagement with a credit organization, and that provided credit ratings to banks. So we work with the banks a lot. And again, very quick story. This credit agency contacted me because the banks were complaining that when there was a P1, the credit agency wasn't giving them enough information. So the communication was a problem. Now that's called jumping into solution mode. So we could have improved communications, but when we applied the double diamond framework, meaning we did a lot of research first, we spoke to the banks, we spoke to service desk analysts, we spoke to process owners. Now we don't have to spend a lot of money or time here. It's just doing that. And the problem wasn't about communications. The communication was fine. The problem was that the banks had unrealistic expectations that when there was a P1, they wanted it resolved. Now that's unrealistic. It's a P1. That's why it's people. We don't know. I mean, we can lie and say it's going to be fixed in an hour. We all know that's a lie. We just say that, because that's what we're contractually obliged to do. But that's an example of how humanizing IT can be implemented in any industry for any improvement or innovation. That just start with what you think the problem is and don't jump into solution mode, basically. Yeah.
Oh, thanks, Katrina, and sorry for putting this question to you. But then, guys, she introduced the Domo Diamond framework. I know somebody is really asking. There's actually a question that says, "What frameworks are out here to guide organizations?" Something we can use as a template. Somebody just asked that question, Adams.
Yeah.
So, partly, Katrina, your response answered that, but probably if you can speak to Adams. Adira M. Dennis.
Yeah, so it's a great question, because when we do experience design, what a lot of people, including myself, were not aware of is that there's actually a process to create experience. You can't just do it. Human centered design gives us that process. And Humanizing IT has created those templates and procedures that you need to do that. And so that's part of what Humanizing IT is, and it's part of our training and consulting. So there's absolutely an approach or framework for you and IT professionals to pick up with both hands and follow of how do you create this experience. Because I often say you can't just do it. You have to be guided, as you do with ITIL. There's guidance, and so is experience design, and we give you those templates.
All right. Thank you, Katrina. So, Zira, I hope your question is answered. Please, if you have any questions, just drop them in the chat. I just have one last question, and then we take questions from the audience. And my questions are normally broad. So, Vivian, there's a question about governance. All right. Leaders always talk about sustainability. And in terms of governance, ensuring that humanizing IT becomes part of the organizational process and flow. What are some practical governance points that you think leaders should really look at when implementing humanizing IT, or when even thinking about adopting IT? Because most times if governance is not clear, the organization are like, no, we can't sustain this. So I just want to ask this question around governance in humanizing IT. Yes, please. So please, you have the stage.
Okay. Thank you, Sam. Governance is interesting, right? Because when you want to drive culture, when you want to drive change, when you want to drive transformation, they all come from governance. It's in as much as we like a bottom-up approach where you get the people into it, but direction is important, and that's where leadership comes in. So my take would be that you have a dedicated resource who's driving human-centered design, who's driving humanizing IT, who's driving this experience management for your organization. There has to be a thought process into how we want to approach it. Katrina just mentioned something about the Double Diamond framework and the processes and procedures you need to undertake. Somebody has to own it. And that's the person who determines where we start, how we're progressing, and create some reports or some update to the rest of leadership. And this person has to be senior enough to have the right kind of authority to drive the change that needs to happen. So you have to define for yourself how you want to adopt this. Frameworks usually would tell you in broad terms how to go about it, but you need to define this for your specific organization. How are we going to fit this into us? How do we operate? Which areas of our business, which areas of our teams or processes do we need to modify, to update? I was once, when we did CX for the group as a whole, one way to get people to understand the focus on the customer was to always leave an empty chair in the meeting room. And we say, assume you have a customer sitting there. Mm-hmm. What would that customer think of what you're discussing, or what solutions you were working through? So how does the customer perceive that conversation, right? And it was just a means of getting people to always think about the customer while they were discussing whatever problems or solutions they were musing over. So I would say that the first step would be to define responsibility with the right authority, and then allow the person walk through those processes within the framework to customize the solution for the organization.
Wow. Thanks, Vivian, for that in-depth explanation. Katrina,
Yeah,
you have some 2 points to add, to please kindly.
Yeah, just briefly, if organizations are serious about bringing in experience into the organization and looking after the users and customers in a human-centered approach, as we have process owners in IT service management, and I quite often ask this, that you might be the incident manager, but who owns the experience? And I get told, oh, it's a service desk. I'm like, no, they don't own the experience. Who owns the end-to-end experience of a user that has an incident? And then service desk, and then it's met with silence. So companies really do need to invest in, as Vivian says, in roles and leaders to ensure that this is happening, as companies have invested in ITIL and other frameworks. So there is, as I said, it doesn't have to be a lot of money, but there has to be a concerted effort that they're actually interested and invested in doing this. So, yeah.
Okay. Thanks so much. I think it's clear. So, who owns the experience? This is, just a lighter joke. There was this project we're implementing, and I used to ask, who is the best person to tell us end to end? And you always don't get an answer. The person they refer you to gives you a long structure, and then you start implementing, and somebody says, that is not it. So
no, exactly right.
Practically, it's
or everybody owns it, and then if everybody owns it, nobody does.
Nobody does.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, because of time, I would want to, guys, you can type your questions. We're going to have these sessions. Thankfully, we are going to bring Katrina and Vivian a lot of times to delve deeper into some of the areas we touched. And Mark, I see Mark saying he loves the empty chair idea because it makes it very real, Vivian. The example you gave, that you put an empty chair and say, what would the customer say? I would say the customer, it's, that is a very practical drive that brings people to think as it is in the room. My last question, it's just the last question, that imagine every CEO or CIO or board member across Africa is listening, and you had one opportunity to convince them that humanizing IT deserves a permanent place on the executive agenda. What would you say? And what happens if they choose to ignore it? So that's my question. Imagine you have every CIO listening. I see Mr. Emmanuel from Zenith here. Hi, sir. Imagine everybody's listening, and you have to convince them to put humanizing IT on the agenda. What would you say? Who's going to go first?
Good question. Okay. It's a very good question.
Okay, maybe I'll go first, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So imagine every...
Yes, yeah. I do. I sat in a conference last year, service management conference, and I attended over 20 breakout sessions. Half of them were talking experience management. It's interesting because when you do AI is automating your process. You're removing people, right? You're removing people from the process, and you're setting machines to do what people would have done. So where does the customer or the user experience come in that journey? Because if we implement automation with our current process-focused systems, we're just going to upscale and multiply the problem. So where does experience management come in? And that's where I'm talking to the CIOs now. How do you think about your users? We all assume that with automation, you're going to reduce the number of people in IT. Everybody's looking at how to cut costs. So in the bid to cut that cost, are we also considering the user's experience in that journey? And that's where I would leave that. So it's a question to me, and I'm asking it back to them. Have you thought about it? And if not, why not?
Okay, this pitch, I believe will win. If not, why not? Hey, Katrina,
I think I would say, because I have been asked that before, but rightly or wrongly, I would say you look at studies, as I said, by the leading consulting firms, where human-centered design saves you money, brings you loyalty, brings you advocacy. That's what I'd say. Because companies invest in human-centered design for customers. So most big organizations, are not so big, have a human-centered design lab, and they have designers, CX, UX, because they understand the value of the customer experience. What we want to do is bring that into IT service management and keep your employees, keep them happy, ensure that they can do their job easy with technology. So that's what I would say. I mean, these consultancy can't be wrong. It's a fact that human-centered design saves money and brings customer loyalty and advocacy. So it's time to bring it into IT.
Okay, so very straightforward. It brings you money. It's time to bring it into IT. All right, thank you guys so much for sharing with us. I mean, my head is spinning with a lot of questions, but I think this pitch will be played to every CIO in the room, and I mean to answer that question. Guys, just to give you some gist, right? So I wanted to ask a question earlier on about the role of training in adoption. Coming back to Dennis' question around what frameworks and all that, just briefly, what is the role of training or taking courses in the journey of adoption humanizing IT? What role does it play? Because I know ITO is popular because, I mean, in every practical organizations, people have to be ITO certified and learn about them. And I believe it really contributed to the adoption and what role, I mean, in general, what role does training play in the adoption? And after you give this answer, I have a package for all our audience, so please stay tuned. Okay, so Katrina, would you go first, or Vivian? What role has training really played in adoption of frameworks practically? Thank you.
I might go first, that's okay.
Sure.
I think it's, I know it's essential. I mean, education and awareness is the beginning of change. And everybody must be on that journey. I mean, that would be a prerequisite for us at HIT Global, is that companies do our training. And again, just very quickly, our training, we've won lots of awards from many organizations across the globe. So we do micro-learning. The training is fun, it's short, it's making sure that you understand as you go. It's applicable and relatable. So the education is the beginning of change. So that's pretty much what I would say, Sam.
If I could just add a little on that.
Yes.
I think what you're doing, the webinar you're doing, is also a form of awareness, because the truth is you don't even know you have a problem until somebody touchlights on it for you. Like I mentioned, I went to a conference and I had that exposure, and I saw that experience management is a way to go. I wasn't sure where or how to start. I just knew that this was something we needed to do. And it took some encounter to come to the knowledge of humanizing IT. And really, for me, it's been a fantastic journey. In my head, I could tick off, I have this implementation hat on all the time. I'm thinking, how are we going to get value out of this? How do we make things happen? So I'm thinking in my head where to start. Who do I need to train? Who do I need to bring on? How do we do an awareness? And that's the beauty of training, right? Is the fact that you get to learn, you get to know. Then more importantly, you're able to take the next steps to bring about the desired change.
Wow.
Thank you.
Thanks so much. That's so much direct on the nail. You hit the nail where it hits. Thank you so much, Katrina and Vivian. Guys, to the good news. So in extending the awareness and adoption of Humanizing IT. Katrina's company, HIT and Mac, has a special discount for African IT personnel who would want to take up this. All right, so you can see on the screen there's a discount code to enjoy a $245 off the cost of the training. And so I would really want you guys to tap into the claim and get the discounts, jump on the course, share it with other people. I have done the course and it's amazing. I normally lead implementations for ITSM with regards to the software, and I'm implementing this double diamond framework to make sure I invest my time in the real problem and not finish a whole implementation and the problem was not so. So it's really a practical course. Just visit our website, get the discount, and please notice for African teams, it's for African. We're doing this only for African. We want to thank HIT, Mark, and Katrina for this. Get your certificate and share it on LinkedIn, and let's spread the good news of Humanizing IT. So thank you so much, guys. So that's the good news. Thank you for joining.
Thank you.
Thank you, Katrina. Thank you, Vivian. Just like we do, any last words for the audience? Any last words? Any last words for the audience?
I would say that user experience is important. It's not just the customer. We know customer experience, right? But now we need to think user experience from an IT perspective. It is worth the investment. Thank you.
It's worth the investment. Thank you, Vivian. Katrina?
I think I have to 100% agree with Vivian, and obviously my business partner Mark and I would love for Humanizing IT and for you to be the pioneers of bringing Humanizing IT to Africa. So very excited, and I think it's a great offer. And if anybody's got any questions, obviously reach out to Sam or myself. And on a personal note, Vivian, and professional, it was lovely to have the opportunity to present with you. As I said earlier, we're very like-minded souls, and I'm sure we'll be in contact soon. And thank you for OnPoint for the opportunity.
Thank you very much. It's been wonderful meeting with you. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye, everybody. Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Please have a good one. We will share the YouTube recording, so if you couldn't join, you can always visit and then watch this. Thank you, guys, and have a good rest of the day.